I noticed on the break, as there's a continual letting go, I bumped up against a fear of how much will fall through the cracks if you just, completely let go and just truly do the moment by moment thing. And then it was funny, you mentioned, hey, I had to bring myself a note to do the meditation because I forget things these days. So I think my question is, kind of on a practical level, once you fully let go, how do you kind of still manage what needs to be taken care of in the horizontal world?
I just want to address something deeper because I hear something deeper, and that is letting go, the fear of letting go of the concepts that you have identified with of who you think you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's freaking you out.
Say that again.
That's freaking you out.
A little bit, because it's like I can feel the precipice, and then you bump up against that fear of, and on some level I know, gosh, whatever falls away, well, it falls away, it wasn't necessary. But obviously some other part of me is like,
Yeah. It's very possible that it won't fall away. Nothing falls away. It's just that you realize it's not you. We all hold some conditioning.
Yeah, okay.
That's how we function in the world.
Okay.
And that realization came to me. It was very interesting. We were in Germany, and I went to dinner with the organizer and some friends, and Eckhart decided he didn't want to go for dinner, so he stayed back at the hotel. And then the woman across from me, she said, "Is your water no good?" I went, "No, my water's fine." And then my friend, who's a little bit, has more experience, coming over here to North America, he said to me, "She's really asking you for a sip of water." And I went, "No, she asked me if my water was good." And she goes, "That's how Germans ask for a sip of water." And I went, "Really? Oh my God. So all this time that Eckhart's been saying something, is this good? Is this good? I've been denying him a sip of water, been denying him a little bit of whatever I have on my plate. Wow." So when I went back to the hotel, I told them of this, and I asked them, I go, "Is this true? Is this, when you say this, are you really asking for something?" And he said, "Yeah." And I went, wow, so that's a conditioning. So that's their culture conditioning. We don't understand it because we weren't born there, right? Or I wasn't born there. Maybe some of you were born there. So we all have this conditioning. Maybe it won't fall away, but you'll become aware. So I didn't have that awareness. Now that I have this awareness, and now that he also knows that I'm aware, because I say to him, "Well, listen, growing up here, I don't understand that. We just ask for a sip." Right? I mean, that's just what we do. So sometimes he'll play out his conditioned, request of, is this any good? And sometimes he'll just directly ask for it now because he sees that. So you both learn all these different conditionings that we have. So it may not fall away. It just means that you are aware, and you're aware that you are the spaciousness, and you will decide what conditioned parts of you that you may keep and that you won't keep because it doesn't serve you.
Okay.
But sometimes it might serve you. in a certain country. And other times it may not. Just as I gave the example yesterday, where somebody I was meeting, he introduced himself, and I was just about, 5 minutes away from coming on, and, very kind of more inward. And he puts out his hand to shake my hand, right?
Yeah.
As I said that. So the conditioning of this culture would be you stick out your hand. It doesn't matter whether you want to or not. You stick out your hand, you do it. But I didn't.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't want to. It's because I just found my arm wasn't moving up.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I noticed that, in fact. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm not wanting to shake hands. It doesn't mean I didn't acknowledge him. I did. So as the consciousness that we are, we realize there is some conditioning. And we realize there's some conditioning that's maybe useful and other conditioning that is not useful.
Okay.
So you, as the consciousness, in that moment will decide what is going to be useful for you and what is not. So yes, there may be some things that fall away and some things that we just keep.
So as you say that, then what comes up for me is sort of, what the fear, the tears were is like complete giving up any control at all. And then I hear you saying, no, you retain choice as to what, conditioning you keep and what you don't. I guess that's a concept I've had in and of itself about awakening is a complete loss of,
And that may happen. It may happen as well. Okay. You just don't know. So the fear that comes up oftentimes is that we fear the unknown.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But how can you fear what you don't know? It's the mind that has a picture of what the unknown may be.
Yes, because the fear is, oh my goodness, if I'm only in this moment ever, dear goodness, what bills am I going to forget to pay? What, everything's going to fall apart. And on some level, it's like, well, who cares? But on another level, it's like, no, I still need to function in this world. So
yes, you will. And you may not care. You may not want to pay the bills, but you also have to suffer the consequences of that. Right? Because there are consequences. It's like saying, well, I remember one question when I was sitting with a spiritual teacher one time, and one question was like, well, if things don't really matter and all that, and, if I just go out and kill somebody, that'll be okay, won't it? I mean, it'll just be fine, and, well, you can go out and kill somebody, but you'll have to suffer the consequences, and that should be fine too then. That should be fine, that, depending on what country or what state you're in, be fine to be on death row, if that's what you're willing to accept.
Yeah. As you talk, I think there's this awareness that maybe there was a concept of it being a bit ungrounded to completely let go, but then I'm reminded of you saying, no, we're heaven and earth. And so
exactly.
There's a groundedness even in the presence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are heaven and earth. Okay. The two are inseparable, but yet there is only one that is true. So earth is impermanent.
Okay.
Comes and goes, and yet we're tapping into something, and you're transitioning into something much deeper than something that is impermanent.
Yes.
Much deeper than your conditioned self, and definitely deeper than the ego self.
Right.
So oftentimes, as we awaken, there are some conditioning that you'll want to have and drop away. But all that ego stuff, you will want to drop away.
Yes.
Because it won't serve you anymore. It just won't. It won't fit you. It just doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
So just be here right now.
Yes, because as you say that, then too, I'm aware how much things just fall away when it's time for them to fall away. And so that was just fear of, oh God, like what's going to be required for the, you know,
Exactly.
proverbial jumping off of the cliff.
Exactly, exactly. And, you know, and it might be for a moment that you might forget something. Like when I remember one of many spiritual sort of awakening moments that I had, I thought I was at Eckhart's place, and I thought I just wouldn't know how to drive my car. At that time, I had a Standard, so I'm like, I don't know if I know how to drive. So he goes, okay, that's fine. Leave your car here and I'll drive you home. So the next morning I wake up and I had to get my car. So I'm like, geez, I don't know if I can drive. But it was interesting. As soon as I got into the car, it was like riding a bicycle. Yeah. You just get in and you know how to drive. So you're not going to forget. And when it comes to things like this, I don't know, could be age too, right? We all eventually, you'll find that you just don't want to hold the information there.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You have reminders. I know young people who write for reminders, so, I'm not worried. And it's okay to have reminders.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You look more relaxed now and at peace with this.
I am, and thank you for just your work and for, the way that it helps with acceptance, and I just appreciate.
You're welcome. You're welcome.